big news day? Well, first of all, apparently there were supposed to be some shocking news today, and they still haven't been released. So we don't know what that is, because that hasn't been released yet. Twitter is swarming with news. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Lauren. And hi, Peter. Twitter has been swarming today with so much news, an incredible amount of news. I think that the Western news sources literally cannot keep up with how fast this offensive is being conducted, because I keep seeing like, oh, hi Praxis, hi Kat, Heroyam Slava Grumpy. So the funny thing is, what I keep seeing is like, I'll see Western news outlets and they posted something like, it is rumored that Ukraine has been is like fighting near Kupiansk, and then like 2 seconds later, right, I see a Ukrainian news outlet post like a photo of the armed forces of Ukraine completely having had captured Kupiansk, and like the city plate is repainted into blue and yellow instead of the Russian tricolor. So it looks like, hi Sherry, Western news outlets completely cannot keep up with everything that's happening. They have a very hard time, because I'm assuming that news comes out in Ukrainian. They have to understand like what's real and what's not real. Ukrainian news outlets right now are so much more like trustworthy as to what's happening. Rather, not even trustworthy, but like you are going to find out information faster if you just follow like Ukrainian speaking news sources and translate what they're saying, because they're much faster at releasing information. Heroyam Slava Grumpy and High Gap. So it's been looking very, very bad for Russians. I am having a really fun time with trolls under my videos today, because I had posted a video about the letter Y, which is the symbol of Ukrainian resistance in occupied territories. Hi, Keith. And it's such a like innocent symbol of resistance in Ukrainian territories, right? That Russian trolls really cannot say anything to it. I mean, not a single thing. Oh, awesome, James. And hi, Pavel? Yeah, so basically, I posted like what he means, and like the trolls really can't say anything to it, because it's a letter of the alphabet. Like, how are you gonna debunk it? You know, how are you gonna say it's like a Nazi symbol or something like that? So I have seen my favorite troll comment to date, because it was so incredibly hilarious, because they basically couldn't say anything, right? So I posted this video about the letter Y, and I said this letter does not exist in Russian alphabet. And this person with 0 followers, 0 following anything, goes, actually, it exists in Russian too. Slava Ukraini, thank you, gentle artist. And hi, Veronica, and hi, Karine, and hi, Ryan. And I am literally looking at it, and I'm like, you guys are impressive. You will say anything at this point, won't you? Have you ever seen your own alphabet? And then a bunch of people responded to that troll too, because it's so ridiculous at this point. And he just responded saying, my friend told me I'm not Russian. Thank you, Lisa. Well, I'm Ukrainian. Thank you. Thank you for the lesson in my own language. Is losing his mind on Twitter trying to get the gains listed. Oh my gosh, yes. Hi, Jason, and hi, Karine. Yeah, there are a lot of very popular kind of like people who report on the invasion on Twitter, and they're absolutely losing their mind, because the second they post the map, 10 minutes later, it seems like it's absolutely irrelevant at this point. You're revered for thousands of years. Well, I mean, I don't even, like, here's the thing. we're not doing this for glory, right? We're not doing this for being recognized. We're doing this because it's our land. So it doesn't really matter if we, you know, if this is going to be revered for thousands of years. I personally just want our POWs back, and I want them back in one piece, and I want them to be okay, and I want them to be at home, and I want them to be taken care of. And I just want, I want our boys and girls back, and I want Ukrainian people to have their dreams of coming back home come true. And so these territories are liberated and they don't have to live under fascist rule anymore. And so that's pretty much all really that Ukraine wants. 3,800 kilometers regained in the last 24 hours north of Izum. Yeah, here's the thing, like, this is a record speed offensive because it's not a blitzkrieg, but it basically is becoming a blitzkrieg without it having been like decided to be so. And the reason is A, the Ukrainian armed forces are incredibly effective. B, the armed forces of Russians are literally just like giving up their positions and fleeing. Like, there is a paramedic on the front lines of Ukraine that is our friend. He has been here. You guys know him. His name is Saint Valen. He's been here for a while, and then he volunteered to go back to Ukraine to be a paramedic on the front lines. And he says, you know, like, what he keeps witnessing is like Russian troops will see Ukrainians with guns, not even artillery, literally Ukrainians with guns, and they will quite literally run away. So they're not even, like, in a lot of places, they're not even putting up a fight. But that's not why, but that's not why Ukraine is winning. It's, you know, in a lot of places, they are putting up a fight. They're just inferior. But a lot of them also are just like, oh, no, no, guns. Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to be in it. Also, I have news for you guys. So do you want to find out who it is that I'm going to be interviewing? I'm not going to tell you the exact person, but I'm going to tell you more about it. So if you'd like to hear, if you're not from Patreon, because all of my patrons know who I'm going to be interviewing, but the interview is presumably happening early next week on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, because the person is in Kyiv right now and they are, they're away. And so they can't do it until next week. I'm going to do it through Zoom. I'm going to record the whole conversation, and then I'm going to patch it together into a YouTube video. I'm going to give you a bit of a background, and then I'm going to have to send it back to the OPSEC so they can confirm the interview too, and they can give me a green on posting it, because I can't do like a live. It's not going to be an event. It's going to be a video on YouTube, but you're not going to unfortunately see it live. You're not going to unfortunately see it live. You're going to have to see the version that's edited together, which, like, I'm not going to edit anything that they were saying. I just want to, like, you know, if there's like awkward pauses, like an for a long time or something like that from my side or from their side, I will, like, kind of, you know, I'll condense it into like a shorter version, and I will also give you like a background on it. But come on. Do you guys want to know who I'm interviewing? Come on. I only see Veronica saying that she does. You know, I mean, like, is it Wikipedia from Azov? No. Як часто приїжджаєте в Україну? Дуже давно не була, тому що я не маю можливості виїхати. Yes? Okay, so, oh, Sky, come on, you know who this is. Okay, so I'm interviewing a fighter from Azov who was in Mariupol, who was in Azovstal, who was in who was a Russian prisoner of war, and then was exchanged back onto the territory of Ukraine. I'm not going to tell you which particular fighter. It's not Wikipedia, however. I did want to interview him as well, but he did not respond. He did not get back to me yet. За підтримку, допомогу, слава Україні. But yes, героям слава, звичайно. But it's not Wikipedia. It is going to be an Azov fighter who was in Azovstal. It's going to be a heroic defender of Ukraine, and and we're gonna be asking him. So people on Patreon have submitted the questions that they wanted him to answer, and some of them I know weren't gonna get approved because it's OPSEC problems, and some of them I knew I could include, so I included as much as I could. And basically, so some of your Patreon questions are gonna be answered. Ні, тут з Українок не тільки ти. Ну, можливо, на даний момент може тільки ти, але тут багато є українців. А чуваки, можете, будь ласка, сказати привіт Джулія Лонець, тому що вона думає, що вона одна єдина з України тут. Ну, ще я українка. О, Василь знизу. Oh, Lisa, it's corn. Thank you. But yeah, but basically we're going to be interviewing we're going to be interviewing a heroic defender of Ukraine who has gone through 7 levels of hell in order to defend our country. And if you want to, I can post on Twitter basically 3 different options of which fighter it is, and you guys can vote on who you think I'm going to interview. It's not Wikipedia. I did message Wikipedia. I did ask him if he would give me an interview as well. He read the message, but he hasn't responded to me. But hi Kay, hasn't responded to me, and I fully understand why. I mean, like, first of all, I would never judge somebody for not responding to me. It was a lot, you know, and he's also going through rehabilitation and stuff like that. And obviously there has been a lot of interviewers who wanted to like interview him particularly. And also, I mean, you know, I'm not special, right? So it's okay that he didn't respond, but hopefully he might in the future, and maybe I'll still get a chance to talk to him as well. However, the fighter that I'm getting to interview is actually the Azov battalion soldier that I personally wanted to talk to the most, because to me, when I was looking at the interviews with them in Ukrainian, it's not that I was the most impressed by them. It's just that, like, you know, sometimes sometimes you just like hear a person speak and you feel like you can get along with them, you can relate to them. You know, I don't know how to say this, but for some reason, like, I heard his interviews and he was like the person that I personally really wanted to speak to. It seemed to me like I would want to find out what's been happening from him particularly. Also, the reason why I want to do this interview is I don't just want to ask him questions about Mariupol. I don't just want to ask him questions about the front lines. I mostly want to also ask him questions about I also really want to ask him questions about why he decided to join Azov. I want to ask him questions as to what he wanted to do before he was in the battalion Azov, you know, because I think it's so important to show you these, you know, cyborgs, these like ruthless fighters who are invincible as people, because they are people. They're incredibly impressive, incredibly well trained, incredibly amazing, incredibly fearless, incredibly invincible fighters, but they're also people. And I think that a lot of you have no idea why it is that they joined Azov to begin with. You know, like, I have an idea because I'm Ukrainian and I know exactly why these guys formed this battalion and exactly why so many of them at such a young age went and signed up, right? But I think that you need to hear it from a person. And here's the thing, he hasn't even answered my questions yet, right? Like, I'll be doing it in an interview when I speak to him, but I have an idea what he's going to say, right? And I think that it's incredibly important for you to know why. Because with the rhetoric of Lviv, because with the rhetoric of Azov being neo-Nazis and all of this stuff, and this battalion being created because these are like bloodthirsty dudes who just want to, like, you know, unalive Russians, it's not true. It's not true. It's not why it was created. And so I personally really want you to hear from these fighters so you understand why they joined, what it means to them, why they what is Azov to them now? What was Azov, like how was Azov formed? Like all of this stuff. Basically, I want to ask them an all-encompassing history. I want to ask he particularly. Most of Azov guys have tattoos. I also want to ask them about mumu. Русский, да? Русский, да? Ну-ну. Я бы тебе сказала, солнышко, пользуйся интернетом, пока есть возможность. Пока ты можешь за него заплатить, и пока у вас не отрезали электричество в России. Пока у вас не закончилась вся денежка, и пока вы можете сидеть и говорить «ну-ну», потому что скоро не сможете. Окей? Пойди вон что-то полезное в интернете почитай, но не смотри меня, зачем тебе? У тебя и так мозги уже промыты, и тебе ничего не сделают. Окей? Иди вон книжечку почитай, иди киношечку посмотри какую-нибудь из... Иди киношечку посмотри какую-нибудь из, я не знаю, из Америки. Скоро не сможешь, ну серьезно. Oh no, it's okay, Kat. You can eat him. I don't have a personal attachment to that person. Anyways, but so yes, I think it's really important for you to hear from them why they joined the battalion. What is Azov for them? A lot of them have tattoos, and so does he. So I want to ask him what his tattoos mean, because, you know, it's important. I feel like with all of this stuff where they're asking, like, you know, they're saying, oh, Ukrainian Azov fighters are tattooed with neo-Nazi symbols. Like, I'll show you what neo-Nazi symbols he's tattooed with. I hope that he's gonna walk you through a bunch of his tattoos and explain to you what they mean to him and in general. And yeah. And so I think that interview is going to be incredibly fruitful and incredibly important for all of us to hear. I'm also incredibly excited to speak to him, and I'm incredibly excited to hear his answers. And also I'm going to be asking him about his time in Mariupol. I'm going to be asking him about his time in Azovstal. I'm going to be asking him about his time in the Russian captivity. And I am going to be asking about all of that. So stay tuned. And I really am excited. I'm so incredibly excited to hear from him. So I'm going to be interviewing him next week when he comes back from Kyiv. And then I am going to be releasing the interview. Well, I'm going to try and edit it within the next 24 hours. And then I'm going to send it back to OPSEC so they can confirm that I can post this. And then I'll post it the second that they okay it. Also, someone says over here that Wolf's angle and Sonnenrads are no bueno. So first of all, Azov's symbol is not. So first of all, Azov's symbol is not Wolf's angle. Azov's symbol is the idea of nations, and this symbol predates Hitler and predates Germany in 1940s and predates the Yahtzee ideology by like 1,000 years. It's from 300, okay, the year 300s about there, and the symbol is called idea of nations. I've explained it so many times, but basically, go to Japan. Swastikas are everywhere because it's a symbol that marks holy spiritual places. So you're not going to go to Japan and say, well, hey, Hitler stole your swastikas, so now you can't use them, right? Well, it's the same here. Idea of nations is a symbol that kind of looks to you like Wolf's Angel, but it's not. And it has been around in Ukraine way before Wolf's Angel was. And idea of nations, the idea behind the idea of nations is free and independent Ukraine. And so that's what the symbol symbolizes. And then the Sonnen thing, sure, there for sure was that on some patches of some Azov soldiers. But here's the thing. Azov is not a neo-Yahtzee organization. Azov is not a Yahtzee organization. Azov is a military unit. The people who get into military, like if you look at the American military, you're going to find so many Yahtzees there. People with tattoos, okay? But you're not going to know because they're not openly screaming that they are, right? Until they wear a patch or something like that. Same happens within the Ukrainian military, within the French military, within the German military, with With any military in the world, there are neo-Yazis. But that does not make that particular battalion a neo-Yazi organization. It just means that some neo-Yazis slipped through the cracks. And if you want to know more about Azov, you can watch my video that's literally pinned on my page where I explain all of this. I explain the idea of nations. I explain how Azov was created. I explain everything about it. So if you want to know more about them, you can go and watch that video. But here is the thing. Neo-Yazis exist in every military. Like, there are more neo-Yazis in the American military than there are in the Ukrainian military. Do you call the American military a neo-Yazi organization? No, that just means that people with particular beliefs were able to join because they weren't properly vetoed, or because they weren't expressing their beliefs because they knew they wouldn't be able to join, right? So same here. And anytime that somebody gets discovered in Ukraine who's a neo-Yazi, they get booted from the army. And also, like, in our constitution, it's quite literally forbidden to show belonging to Yazi or communist organizations or fascist organizations, wear fascist Yazi or communist symbols, or basically like spread Yazi fascist or communism ideology. So yeah. So if you'd like to know that, that's what it is. Yeah, so that's that. Thank you, Campit. And it's quite like, it's quite damaging for people to think, for people to keep spreading this ideology. And again, like, you will hear the interview with the Azov fighter, and I want to know what you think about Azov and why you think Azov was created after you listen to him. And also, for everybody asking where the interview is going to air, it's going to air on YouTube, same as this. And also, I'm going to put like little snippets on TikTok, but it's going to be probably like a 40-minute to an hour interview. So obviously, I can't fit it into a TikTok. So I am going to put it over on YouTube and then just sort of take little snippets of it and put it on TikTok, right? So if you would like to watch the full interview, it should be coming out within the next like 2 weeks, and it's going to be over on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm sure you will find it very interesting. And I think that it's incredibly important that that interview, that you guys hear that interview. And I think it's incredibly important that you get to listen to as many Azov fighters, honestly, as possible, because I would like to interview more of them and I would like to hear from more of them. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And with that said, I have another person in mind that I want to reach out to, who is also a fighter of Azov battalion. And yeah, there is that. Also, another thing that I was going to say in terms of Azov is a lot of people have this mistaken belief, this very, very, very uninformed, very, very mistaken belief that Azov existed before the 2014 invasion. And they just got together in the 2014 invasion. And we're like, yay, we're going to go fight Russians. We've always hated Russians. Azov was formed as a response to the Russian invasion. Most of the people in Azov are Russian speaking, and they're from Russian speaking territories of Ukraine. And they were formed as young guys who picked up arms to go and protect their cities where they are from. Hi, Jack. Hi, Mariana. So they were not like an organization before the Russian invasion. They quite literally were formed when the Russian invasion started as a direct response to it, because there was no military that could. Ukraine had really crap military, and they knew that military wasn't able to. Oh, thank you, Kay. No, Azov is not officially recognized as a terrorist organization by unarmed nations. First of all, it's United Nations, what you wanted to say, and second of all, no, it is not. And the only reason that was even on the roster is because Russia is a part of the UN. And now, provided that the world is now seeing how much damage Russia has done, being a member of the UN and having the veto power and having the power to make these decisions and having the power to introduce these topics, they're now trying to take Russia's veto away. And they're also trying to take Russia's position away on the UN Security Council because they're abusing power. Specifically for that reason, the only reason Azov was ever brought up to the UN as a terroristic organization was because Russia brought it up. And Russia wanted to officially register them as a terrorist organization because that would, in fact, benefit Russia. Because sponsorships to Azov would stop. And Azov was the most effective battalion in countering the Russian invasion. And the reason why this rhetoric of them being a terrorist organization, of them being neo-Nazis, the reason why it spread so far and wide is because they were the most effective against Russia, and Russia is terrified of them. So there is that. So there is specifically that. With that said, there was something that I wanted to see. Yeah, there was something that I wanted to see, and I wasn't able to. Wait 1 second. Let me see if it had updated. How did I lose it? Okay, well, I lost it. Can bring evidence that doesn't exist. Exactly. There was no evidence for them being a terrorist organization. There has never been any evidence brought up against them to mark them as a terrorist organization. All of the evidence, trust me, bro, quite literally. Trust me, bro, is the evidence that Russia had to label Azov as a terrorist organization. They had no evidence, not a single bit of evidence. Did you crochet your scarf? No, actually, I did not. I bought it from a Ukrainian brand. It's a Ukrainian traditional little headscarf. Oh, you're in Theo's Patreon merch arrived. Yay! I'm so happy. I hope you like it. Did you, wait, there was something else. Hello from Japan. Hi, Japan. Hi, Japan. And Jack, I'm glad to hear that you're good. Also, Kay, good to see you. Oh my gosh. Isn't it like 6 a.m. in Australia? Why are you up? Why are you up, Kay? What's my name on Patreon? It's the same as here. It's Yulia. Or here, I'll show you. I will show you how to find me on Patreon. So this is view page. Oh, actually, here. But you can also find, 1 sec. Oh my gosh. How do I do this? Switch to Patreon profile. Okay. 5:50 a.m. here. Why are you awake? Why are you awake? Okay. About tiers posts. Okay. But I can't show you because I can't. So it's Spy News Network International, but you also can't, you can find it. My Patreon is linked in my link in bio, but this is what it looks like. I can't show you because it's, no, 1 sec. I'm so sorry. That was such a terrible little sneak peek to something, but mirror your video. Here you go. Spy News Network INTL. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Is English my first language? Kind of, but not really. Ukrainian and Russian are my first languages. Russian, unfortunately. Ukrainian, very fortunately. But I speak English since I was 5. OPSEC failure. Failure. Yep. OPSEC failure. Elvira, hi. Привет. What did Poroshenko do that got the Ukrainian government upset with him? I don't know. Maybe aid in Russian invasion, absolutely not try to form any resistance to Crimea, completely giving up Donetsk and Luhansk, rumors that he was making money through Donetsk and Luhansk after they have been invaded. And the fact that after the 2014 invasion that he was condemning so much, he still had factories in Russia and Belarus that were making his candy, corruption. you know. Yeah. Where did I study? I studied here in New York. Well, I mean, like I went to college here in New York. I went to prep school here in New York. I went to where did I say English? I studied English in Lviv. It's just that the person that I studied English from was a native speaker. Anyways, so guys, without further ado, because we're 30 minutes in, it's time to start on the news. And the news today are many. Okay, the electricity in Enerhodar has disappeared again. The town of Berdensk, Melitopol, and Primorsk are facing power outages. Дякую, це вона від українського бренду. Resistance movement in Kherson, passport of the Russian Federation, is about slavery, poverty, and isolation. The Yellow Ribbon Movement activists continue to work in Kherson at the cost of their safety and freedom. Oh, Diane, you also got your Patreon merch. That's awesome. I'm so happy. How do you like it? Also, if you guys received Patreon merch, please let me know how you like it. And please let me know how you feel about it. And there is some updates to merch coming soon to Patreon. So here is the freedom movement in Kherson. And they're painting blue and yellow flags. Also, another very big symbol of Ukrainian resistance is the letter Y, as I said. If you haven't seen the video, then please go look at it. Oh, you did also. Okay, cool. So everybody has been receiving their Patreon merch. I think the people who received the mug are going to be the most excited because the mug is probably, I expect mine in about 2 weeks, Grumpy. Well, you decided to live in Newfoundland, you know? Okay, this is Vysokopilya, an urban type settlement in the Kherson region after deoccupation. Deputy of the Kherson Regional Council, Igor Yosipenko. So, okay, Patreon is based platform where you can subscribe. Basically, Patreon is in my link in bio, and you can look into it. It's I give more news, and I give, like, basically, if you're subscribed to my Patreon, it's a monthly membership. It's there are different tiers, there are different levels of the membership. Basically, they're supposed to give you different types of perks, and usually on Patreon, like, I release things earlier than for everybody else. Lately, I have been kind of like, I've revamped the Patreon, and I hope that you guys have been liking the revamped Patreon, where I kind of want to give you more sort of where I kind of want to give you more decision-making factors, basically more decision-making abilities over, like, the videos and stuff like that, what you want to hear about. I give you more, I release information to you way earlier than I do to everybody else. Hi, Scooter. Hi, Rulis. So yeah, so basically that's what Patreon is. I hear that word a lot, just not really a thing here. Time I got it. Yeah, Patreon. You can also, you don't even have to download the app. You can literally go into their onto the website and just sign up through the website or something like that. But yeah, it's a monthly membership, and you can subscribe to different creators, and different creators offer you different things that are basically behind the scenes. I decided that I think that my Patreon at this point, the best, because of how much content I produce in general, and because of how busy I am, and because of how hard it is for me to produce more content, I figure that my Patreon is basically going to be like a space for you to have more say in what content goes on my page, and you're going to be getting all of the news first, and you're going to be getting all of the, like, we're going to have discussions. I mean, I'm sure that it's now kind of visible over what I've been posting there for the last couple of days, and I try to, like, sort of post much more often than I did before. And I I hope that it gives you guys like more say, and I hope that you like it, and I hope that you enjoy it, because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to kind of like dictate where this channel goes, because this channel is for you, right? It's for you to find out more information. So I hope that you've been liking the new direction in which Patreon is going, and I hope that you've been liking knowing kind of like what's happening, and yeah. And so the same thing, I'm going to post some Azov fighters, and I'm going to link interviews with them so you can find out a little bit about them. And then after that, I will ask you which one of them you would want me to interview after the incredible guy that I'm interviewing soon, because I would want to do more Azov interviews, and I would want to give you an opportunity to hear from these guys, because I really care to revamp their image abroad from these like crazy neo-Yazis to who they are, the heroes of Ukraine, the fearless heroes of Ukraine. So yeah, but I want you to I want you to tell me which ones of them you're most interested to hear from, because they're all people and they're all different, and like you can hear some of their interviews and see which ones of them you would want to hear from the most. Okay, so this is what Vysokopilya looks like after deoccupation. This is what Ukrainian armed forces have found in the village after they had deoccupied it. Also, these are stolen cars, by the way. Oh. So everything ruined, Z's everywhere, lovely. Okay, ERR says the Baltic states and Poland will close entry to Russians with Schengen visas. Starting September 19th, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Poland will close entry to Russian citizens, in particular to those who have Schengen visas issued by third countries. On the night of September 19th at midnight, a ban on entry through the external borders for the citizens of Russia comes into force, regardless of the state that has issued a Schengen visa, said Minister of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, Urmas Reinsalu. The minister noted that the ban applies to those traveling with tourist visas and does not affect those who want to visit the country to meet with relatives or for other humanitarian reasons. Thank you for all the follows. Nina Volodymyrivna, 86 years old, in her vegetable garden in her village of Pidhaina, Kyiv region, June 2022, signed the photo by its author, Mykola Timchenko. Behind Nina Volodymyrivna's back is her destroyed house, but the woman continues to plant the surviving vegetables in the garden nearby. This is what that looks like. What's been like incredibly a point of very big pride for me within the realm of watching how Ukrainians have been acting about this invasion, right? It's like our people are invincible. This woman's house, she's 86 years old. Those ruins behind her are her house. And she is here coming back there every day, planting the surviving vegetables in that house. And to me, that's incredible. That's so, so, so incredible. And it shows so much spirit. At 86, she doesn't care that her house is ruined. She just cares to keep going. And that's the difference, I think, between like the mentality of Ukraine and the mentality of Russia. Nothing like this is happening in Russia and they already gave up. Ukrainian people's houses are ruined and we're coming outside every day and we're still working. And we're still doing the best that we can. Okay, most EU residents support the provision of arms to Ukraine, and only 3 countries, less than 50%, support that. These countries are Greece, 41%, Cyprus, 44%, Bulgaria, 35%. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Patron the dog. We don't believe you. Oh my gosh. I don't care if Russians believe me. Bulgaria does support Ukraine. It's just that, well, I mean, it's 35% of people do. But yeah, so Patron, you know, Anthony Blinken met with Patron. Patron is the dog that helps sniff out mines and basically disable them. I also, this reminded me that I found something. I went to my favorite like decor store yesterday because that's what I do sometimes when I walk Cine, because it's on our walk route. And I found something really, really cool there, and I will show you. And it has to do, the Patron reminded me of it, then like the whole Cine, I thought of treats. So I'll show you what I found yesterday at the store, because Cine needed new treat jars, because she has this one giant treat jar, and that's all cool and all, but I have these treats that are like salmon and beef, and they're just freeze dried, and they smell a lot, and so I can't put them near other treats because it just like gets a whole thing. So I wanted like 2 smaller ones. And so lo and behold, I walk into the store and this is what I see. I will bring it to you to show it to you, because I was like, well, I can't not get it, because this was quite literally just destiny. I will show you. They had 2 jars in the entire store, and I'll show you what those look like. This store doesn't necessarily even sell jars, but I walked in there and these are the jars that were there. And so I was like, of course I have to get them for myself. I mean, are you kidding me? Thinny tree jars, new edition. Like I walked in and they were literally like, it's the same store where I got the unicorn floaty catch-all for Vasil, where I walked in, it was staring right at me like a couple of days before Vasil got here, and I was like, oh, I'm looking for a present for him. And so this was the same here. I like walked in and this was like right in front of me. And I was like, are you kidding me? Yes, of course I'm getting these. So now Cine have, so now I have this, you know? Okay, let me go put them back, because Cine, before Cine realizes these are her new tree jars, she doesn't react to them yet the same way she reacted to her old treat jar, because she doesn't know that these host treats. So I'm in the clear for now. What? You now realize that these are treat jars? Oh my gosh. I don't know what your point is, Connor. I do like my glasses, and no, I don't miss much. I don't miss much with my glasses off either. Anyways, so yeah. So this is the city center of the liberated village of Balaklia. It was a very important strategic point for the Ukrainian army, and we have gotten it back. And this is what the city center looks like now, with the Ukrainian flag hosting in the sky. Hoisting in the sky. And it's quite amazing. And this is that gigantic like village, because for a village, it's a very, very big village that Ukraine has gotten back a couple of days ago. And this was a very, very, very big strategic point. Also, Jane Baspala is from there, apparently. Just FYI. This is how the Ukrainian military is greeted in the de-occupied territory. Yeah, Ukraine does have very walkable streets. Most of our cities have a very high walking index. iPad, thank you, Rebecca. Here is more great footage of Ukrainian flags returning to Russian-occupied territory. Stay with Ukraine, we will win. This is a Russian rag, by the way. Russian tricolor rag. I think I've developed such a how do I am Slava? Such a like automatic gag reaction to seeing the Russian colors and the Russian flag. It like quite literally makes me physically sick. And I think that flag is so disgusting. Like to me, that flag is forever stained with blood and I just don't ever want to see it. I think it's such a gross like symbol of like I don't even know how to properly describe it, but to me, it's like I look at it and it's the bottom of the barrel symbol, you know? It's so disgusting to me. And the fact that you would hoist that is so gross. Like, to me, it stands for murder. It stands for murder. It stands for ego. It stands for insecurities and stands for complexes. And it stands for cultural appropriation. And it stands for a nation that doesn't have anything of their own, that wants to rob their neighbors. That's what it stands for me. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visited Irpin and saw the devastation after the Russian invasion. Oh my gosh. The Russians ran away and left behind a lot of their equipment and ammunition in Balaklia. Diaries. Oh, also a lot of Russians left their diaries. Residents of the liberated territories meet the armed forces of Ukraine. Yes, guy. You know, Kay, you're not far from the truth. Actually, most of them are quite literally like that. Hi, Devices Max. Привіт. Привіт. Дуже дякую. But Kay, you know you're not wrong. Actually, a lot of these diaries are very on point to what you said. Most of them are like, so the armed forces of Ukraine are taking over, and I'm most likely not going to come back. Please give this to my wife and my child. And my wife, I want to tell you, please tell our children how great their father was. I know you're going to be okay. I know you're going to find someone else, but just please tell them how amazing their dad was. Tell them he didn't smoke. Tell them he didn't drink. And tell them he was brave. And tell them he was an athlete. Wow. So you want to say that it's a point of pride that you didn't smoke or drink? Also, Sergei Kalinin on YouTube with a Russian rag for a profile picture says Slava Russia, and you know, sir, you keep hoisting that rag while you can. So the fact that you're proud of that, the fact that you're proud of that, bless your heart. You're too biased and one-sided on this. Am I one-sided on this? I'm sorry. Which side am I supposed to take into account? The side of Russians quite literally committing a genocide in my country? I'm not biased. I'm actually reading from internationally recognized news sources. The fact that I don't include Russian propaganda as my news source is not biased. That's actually informed. The United Kingdom will hand over 120 tractors for military equipment to Ukraine. They will speed up the redeployment of equipment, including multiple rocket launchers. Ben Wallace, following a meeting in the Ramstein format, announced this. The Pentagon has released details on the previously announced $675 million military aid package for Ukraine. It included additional ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, HIMARS, 105 howitzers, and 36,105 millimeter artillery rounds. Additional high-speed anti-radiation missiles, 100 armored high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicles, 1.5 million rounds of small arms ammunition, more than 5,000 anti-armor systems, 1,155 millimeter rounds of remote anti-armor mine systems, RAM. Additional grenade launchers and small arms, 50 armored medical treatment vehicles, night vision devices, and other. In more than 1,000 square kilometers of our territory have been liberated since September 1st, according to Volodymyr Zelensky, and that was as of 3:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you in a second, Kay. Residents of Transnistria refused to sign contracts with the Russian army. And there is mass desertion in the operational group of troops, main directorate of intelligence of Ukraine. By desertion, they mean people who just absolutely refuse to fight. So those are like the guys who are like leaving the military, like dishonorably discharged and stuff like that. Not even discharged, just literally fleeing. So Russian troops once again struck Kharkiv with missiles on the night of September. An administrative, thank you, Kay. An administrative building in the Saltivsky district of the city, a catering facility in the Kharkiv district of the region, and a non-residential building in the Chuhuyev district of the region were hit. The general staff says personnel of the occupation troops are resorting to desertion in civilian clothes and trying to return to the territory of the Russian Federation. In particular, according to the general staff, more than 15 such cases were noted all over the past day. Thank you, Maxim. Where my spy thing went. Yeah, like there are two ways of signing up for the subscription. It's in the monthly thing where it automatically renews month by month, where you have to renew it. This is what I realized, and this is why I've commented, because it lets me know that you're working out the second that you enter the live, if you're a spy, and then your thing is about to expire. And I thought that like there were no auto renewals, and so I was telling people like, oh, hey, TikTok just let me know this, and then it turned out that they weren't planning on resubscribing, and so I stopped, like, because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. Now I just don't let you know, because some people might have just wanted to subscribe like one time. Lee Keppe, I remember you. Weren't you saying that Russian alphabet also has a letter Y? Okay, so General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine says that personnel of the occupation troops are resorting to desertion in civilian clothes and trying to return to the territory of the Russian Federation. In particular, according to the General Staff, more than 15 such cases were noted over the past day. So Russian troops are quite literally changing into civilian clothes and running away and trying to pass for civilians, and they're trying to get back to to the territory of Russia, which I find incredibly hilarious. I find it so funny. They're just like, oh my God, we are just gonna try to pass for civilians. We were never military. We were never fighting in the territory of Ukraine. We were just random Russian, we're just random Russian tourists, and we want to come home to Russia. Ukrainian forces are likely to liberate Kupiansk within the next 72 hours, seriously disrupting supply routes for Russians in eastern Ukraine, Institute for the Study of War. So, fun fact, fun news, Kupiansk was, okay, first of all, yep. Разумеете. Ну, так не проблема, ти ж можеш, ти, чим більше ти слухаєш, ти, до речі, я би тобі сказала, дивись на Ютубі, тому що там є субтитри. І ти, якщо читаєш субтитри, ти, якщо мене дивишся на Ютубі і читаєш субтитри, ти можеш краще розуміти, що відбувається, ти можеш включити собі субтитри, так можеш вчити англійську мову, тому що ти можеш мати можливість, the poor mentally ill person came back. And that's the only time that I'm going to use that as like a terrible, as like a bad thing, or as something worth looking down upon, because this man, quite literally, it's his 50 something account in the last 3 days. He keeps getting blocked. And I kid you not, he literally created more than 55 accounts after being blocked 55 times from YouTube and from here. And he keeps coming back. Keeps coming back. So I think he's mentally ill. Ukrainian. Thank you, Silver Knight, and thank you, Maxim. Also, what was I saying? So Ukraine did not take the whole Kharkiv region back, no, but Ukraine took a very big chunk of Kharkiv region back. But here's the thing, at 4:42 a.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time, the Institute for the Study of War said that Ukraine is likely to recapture Kupiansk in the next 72 hours. Ukraine recaptured Kupiansk 4 to 5 hours ago. And here I will show you what that looks like, because it was funny for me, because first I actually saw Ukraine recapturing Kupiansk first, and then I saw Institute of the Study of War predicting that they will do that. And I was like, that's so funny, because I just quite literally saw the armed forces of Ukraine on Kupiansk. There we go. This is Kupiansk. This here says Kupiansk. And this is a Ukrainian flag. Permanent representative of Ukraine to the UN, Serhiy Kyslytsa, said at the Security Council meeting that there is only one right way for the Russian Federation to save the lives of thousands of Ukrainians and Russians: to surrender and withdraw. Oh, привіт, Lviv. Привіт, моє рідне місто. Привіт. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken called his unannounced visit to Kyiv on September 8th productive and in many ways outstanding. Russia increasingly uses outdated Soviet weapons in Ukraine, according to Ukrainian Air Force. Here are some of the examples of the fallen Russian weapons that Ukrainians have found, and these are weapons from like 1960s. Дякую, синій сор. Це синізавр. The Security Service of Ukraine confirmed the liberation of Vysokopilya in the Kherson region and Balaklia in the Kharkiv region from the Russian invaders, and also published photos taken by fighters of the Center for Special Operations A. Heroyam Slava audio producer. Hi, good to see you. So this is what it looks like, and this is from the official Armed Forces of Ukraine. Цей динозаврик мені мою собаку нагадує. So this is what it looks like. Also, I'm going to play this for you. You're not really going to understand it because it's in Ukrainian, but you're going to understand the gist of it. So when I said that, Ukraine basically hacked into Crimean TV networks and was playing Zelensky's address to the Ukraine, and it literally says, "To my dear Ukrainians in Crimea, please get some water, please stay away from military bases and facilities, and please, because Crimea is coming back home." Зараз покажу, секундочку. And so this is the address of Volodymyr Zelensky. See all of these channels. See? Yeah, of course, you're not going to understand it, but this is Zelensky talking about basically the fact that Ukrainians in Crimea are gonna should like, you know, get ready, should get prepared, should stay sheltered, should get some water and food in case they need to stay in shelter in place, you know, and then they should also stay away from military facilities. And it literally says Crimea is coming back home, and there is a compilation of like just Ukrainian troops here. So I'll show you what that looks like. One second. So this part says Crimea is coming back home. Привіт, Луганськ. So yeah, so the inscription, basically like the text underneath it said, the text underneath it quite literally said, Crimea is coming back home, and then there were like the Ukrainian soldiers destroying the Russian army. And also for everybody who wanted to see my beast, oing. Hello. Beast, say hi. Hello. Senya. Crimea is coming back home soon. Senya. Bujobobo. Bujobobo. Senya's like, let me be. Thank you, Kay. Yes, Ukraine is winning. Ukraine has always been winning. When does she get released from her pillow? Well, at this point, she likes the pillow. At this point, she quite literally asks me for the pillow, you know? So I don't think she's gonna get released from it because she asks me for it. Привіт, Київ, дуже приємно. Her ear is doing much better. I would show you inside of her ear, but I feel like that's not, you know, that's not productive. We are cleaning it daily. Дякую, Max. But it's getting better. Okay, the Latvian Seima approved the separation of the Latvian Orthodox Church from the Moscow Patriarchy. The main reason is the Russian Orthodox Church's support for Putin and his regime, and the war of the Russian Federation is waging against Ukraine, and the war that the Russian Federation is waging against Ukraine. The Latvian Orthodox Church now has an independent status and is in no way subordinated to Moscow. The Russians carried out an airstrike on a hospital in the Sumy region in the morning. The building was destroyed. There were casualties. They're being confirmed. Дякую, Maxim. The EU Council has completely suspended the simplified visa regime for Russia. Now it's going to cost 85 euros instead of 35 to apply for a visa. Visas are only going to be granted in special conditions, and it's going to take much longer to consider whether a visa can be granted. And also, Russians are going to have to show much more documents, much higher income, and basically there is going to be a much tougher procedure to get the visa. Ukraine will demand at least 300 billion in reparations from Russia for damages caused by the invasion. Currently, the Ministry of Justice is working on a resolution to create a compensation fund. Okay, this is a video that I want to show you from Ukraine Now. You know, I love Ukraine Now videos, so let me download it. Cindy, yes, can I help you? Let me download it so I can show it to you on YouTube. I like to do it so that you can see it full screen. And this one is the summary of the IAEA report published on the results of the mission visit to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which was seized by Russian invaders. Despite Russian pressure on the IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi, the report notes that the president equipment on the territory of nuclear power plant and that Ukrainian nuclear scientists are under pressure, as well as a reference to Russian military operation on the plant. You can learn more about the content of the report and its significance from the video. Here it is. Let me send it to myself and I will put it up. Дуже дякую. I do think that the amount sounds a little bit low, but I think that that's what they've calculated it is going to cost to rebuild certain cities. And we as Ukrainians are not looking for Russia to like get to get handouts from Russia. We just want them to pay what they owe us. That's about it. We don't want anything else to do with them. Okay. Okay, video file, one sec. Let me just set it up. So do you guys still see it decently? Okay. So yeah, this is a very on what the UN security, what the IAEA report said. Also, if you weren't aware, Russians were trying to basically blackmail and pressure Rafael Grossi, the director of the IAEA, to write something else in the report and to basically not talk about the actual magnitude of Russian military equipment present at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But thank God he did not fall for it. Black Viking, hello. Also, hi Frankie. Air Moldova plans to resume flights to Moscow starting October 1st. The carrier says the decision was made after numerous appeals from Moldovan citizens who are in Russia and want to return home. Ukrainian authorities, the police, and emergency services will begin to resume their activities in the de-occupied territories of the Kharkiv region and prepare cities and villages for winter. Head of the Regional Military Administration, Oleg Sanahubov. Here is what that looks like. So Balaklia, basically early in the morning yesterday, and what the front line changed like according to 9:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. That's a huge, incredible. Твічі. Да, я на Твічі теж є. Я на Твічі завжди, я стрімлю на YouTube, Twitch, Twitter і TikTok водночас, коли новини роблю. Дякую, Наталка. So also, I wanted to bring your attention to this is the town that Ukrainian armed forces are fighting against right now. Are fighting for right now, and this is Kupiansk, which is the town that they actually were able to capture already. So this is an outdated map now. Defense forces have advanced almost 50 kilometers in 3 days in the Kharkiv direction, according to General Staff. There were actually that broke right before I came on here to do the news. The news broke that Ukrainian armed forces are now 15 kilometers away from Kherson, and there are signs of fighting. So Ukrainian armed forces an hour ago. We're 15 kilometers away from Kherson. 15 kilometers away, because with the way this has been going, an hour is a lot of time. So it might have progressed a kilometer or two. We don't know. Of Maxim. In the village region, the Ukrainian flag is back over here, which is incredible news and looks amazing, right? Привіт, Maxim. Привіт. Kyivans bring flowers to the capital's embassy of Great Britain. In this way, they are honoring the memory of Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you, Zuri. Secretary Azov refused to comment on the counteroffensive of the armed forces of Ukraine and the liberation of Balaklia in the Kharkiv region. This is to my colleague, Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, Igor Konashenkov, he said. So he basically, his commentary was only ask this from my colleague, ask my colleague this. I'm not going to answer, and and the colleague is the spokesperson for the Ministry of Defense. Like, okay. Statements by Stoltenberg and Blinken at a NATO briefing. Holds the front line in Donbass, but also goes on the offensive. Добрий день. Добрий день. By not allowing Putin and Russia to win in Ukraine, we are protecting ourselves and making it clear that we do not accept such behavior at our borders, said Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg on the conflict between Greece and Turkey. NATO has mechanisms that will resolve the situation through diplomacy. In the village of Moshchun region near a skull was found spring ground. These are the remains of a person unalived by the Russian military during the occupation of the village. During the examination, it was established that there is damage to the bones of the skull, which may indicate that the person was executed. Які ціни в Америці на iPhone 14? Не знаєш? Поняття немає. Він ще ж не вийшов. Чи вийшов, може, я не дивилась навіть. Я поняття, чесно, не маю. Ти можеш мені написати в приватні повідомлення на Інстаграмі, і я подивлюся, але нагадай мені, тому що в мене жахлива пам'ять. Russia has enough stock of missiles. Привіт, Атланта! Привіт, Андрій. В тебе таке саме ім'я, як мого батька. 11 років проживе в Америці. Russia has enough missiles for 3 years, but there are less than 200 Iskanders left. According to the representative of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Vadim Skibitsky, the Russian has 200 left. And instead of them, old S-300s are being launched in Ukraine. According to him, the old-style missiles have been in storage for more than 30 years, and there are about 7,000 of them in total. Skibitsky added that such a stock would be enough for another 3 years, and the Russian Federation, instead of disposing of the S-300, launches them through the territory of Ukraine. Hi, Jillian. The Caliber system, according to calculations, could be produced 150 to 108 missiles a year, and Russians already keep the stock that they have because about 70% of the components are not Russian-made, Skibitsky said. Ну, я виросла у Львові, я проживала у Львові до 16 років, мені 28, я розумію, що я виглядаю трошки молодше по тому, як мені казали, але я приїхала сюди в 16, навіть 12 років тому. Тобто я виросла у Львові. Reuters has received a draft resolution from the IAEA, which will be presented next week ahead of a meeting of the UN Council. The content is fundamentally different from the IAEA report on Tuesday. The resolution calls on Russia to immediately cease all actions in relation to and at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, as well as at other nuclear facilities in Ukraine, so that competent authorities can restore full control over all nuclear facilities on the territory of Ukraine within their internationally recognized borders. Дякую. 28. Putin will hold an emergency meeting with members of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. According to the preliminary data, the reason for such promptness was the threat of the encirclement of the invaded region. Also, thank you for following Shymans01 on Twitch. Good to see you and welcome to our community. And thank you, Maxim. 27 років Georgia. Oh, wow. Як вам Georgia? Ukrainian armed forces may return Crimea in 2023, but the West must provide the support necessary for complete victory for Ukraine, former U.S. Army Commander Ben Hodges. According to the retired general, after 6 months of full-scale fighting, the Russian armed forces still control less than 20% of the territory, and the ability of the Russians to attack is already practically exhausted. It is necessary to state that we want Ukraine to win, that it regains all its territory so that it can defend itself in the future, and that we are going to do everything to help it do this. Washington, added Hodges, is well aware of the needs of Kyiv. Also, an interesting thing that I want to bring up is that Ukraine does not have navy anymore, right? Like, or rather like a fleet, right? Because our fleet was in Crimea, and Crimea is occupied and has been occupied for 8 years. So I wanted to bring up an interesting point. I think that one of the we will see when Crimea is back to Ukraine is that our fleet is going to come back. And I think the fleet is going to come back full force. And I think that one of the things that the Ukrainian military is going to invest into most is going to be our fleet, and is going to be training the members of our fleet, because right now we do not have anyone really who is trained anymore to be in the Ukrainian Navy, right? Because our Navy right now is very small. And there's very tiny, but our Navy used to be one of the most advanced navies and one of the most advanced military units in Ukraine, because we had a giant fleet. These photos show the consequences of today's shelling for Kharkiv, the Uragan anti-aircraft missile systems, said Alexei Nahubov, head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration. Residential buildings, educational infrastructure facilities were damaged. Fires took place. 14 people were injured, including 3 children of 3, 11, and 15 years old. Children are hospitalized in a medical facility. Doctors assess their condition as average. Their lives are not in danger. 4 adults have minor injuries and did not require hospitalization. They were treated on the spot. The condition of the victims is satisfactory. Дякую, Макс. Yes, they are kind of, but again, it's not super developed because, you know, we didn't have anywhere to host the fleet. Украинцы, русские крестьяне, да что ты не говоришь? Русские больны на голову, крестьяне, что дальше? Ты вообще, историку читал, которая была написана кем-нибудь, но только не Московской империи, потому что, как бы, в принципе, если ты так посмотришь на историю, то, как бы, украинцы и русские вообще не имеют ничего общего. Но если вы хотели бы сравнять Россию с Киевской Русью и сказать, что мы такие братья, тогда вы из нас вылезли, ребята, мы тогда ваши братья, а не наоборот. Поэтому вы как-то определитесь, вы либо не хотите, чтобы Украина имела ничего общего с Россией, тогда вы вообще угрофинские племена, которые вылезли из Москвы. А если вы хотите приписать Москву Киевской Руси, ну тогда, ребята, мы ваши генералы, и мы вас сделали, как бы. Это вот как-то вот так получается. Как бы по-другому не получается. Ukraine and Poland have agreed to build a hub for the repair. Oh, but then 1 second, I'm so sorry. There is a Russian who says, you would be no one and nothing without Russians. Honey, how about you go and get yourself a freaking toilet? Get a toilet, get some gas, maybe get some, I don't know, heat, you know, for the winter. Maybe get an espresso machine, you know, maybe get some modern, not even luxuries, but basic necessities. Tell me what without Russia, because, you know, without Russia, we had coffee machines, we had toilets, we had gas stoves, we had washers and dryers, we had dishwashers, we had electric kettles that seem to be a rare breed of luxury in Russia. So yeah, you know, I mean, without Russia, we really would be no one and nothing. We would really have nothing other than basic normalcy. And with Russia, you're right, we do have nothing. Say that without Russia, with Russia, we are nothing, then you are correct, because with Russia, it seems like all of the modern basic necessities just start to disappear. Your neighbor basically loot them out of you, you know, but I would say, you know, maybe you don't make such don't make loud statements, you know? Maybe don't make such loud statements while you're sitting outside and quite literally pooping outside. And the weather in Russia right now is not the greatest. So I do understand that this up your butt is there because it must be very difficult to squat so long. I'm not even gonna honor this person with a response, but there's the hey guys, there's that garbage fire. He now moved to Twitch, and honestly, you know what? I'm gonna respond to him in Russian because he generally is speaking in Russian. Oh, did you boot him already, Grumpy? Because I didn't want to tell him that he's mentally ill. I did want to tell him ill, but no, I'm not. Я не хвастаюсь кофеваркой, которую я купила в Америке. Я просто говорю, что вы знаете, в Украине у нас есть туалеты, и нам не нужно срать на улице, грубо говоря. Даже не грубо говоря, просто. И то, что вам нужно срать на улице, и ссать на улице, и спать на улице, и вы умираете, блядь, в ямах своего говна личного, потому что у вас нет водопровода нормального, и у вас нету крыш на и вы говорите, что без России Украина была бы ничем. Ребят, ну вы подумайте как-то своей головой. Я понимаю, что у вас мозг замерз от того, что вы строите на улице в такую погоду. Но при этом, как бы, может, вы не будете рассказывать, что Украина может быть без России, когда Россия, страна газа, не может газ провести в больше, чем 30% своих домов. А еще, вы знаете, я вам скажу, чувак, факт того, что вот это твоя работа в том, что 55 профилей, после того, как тебя 55 раз заблокировали на моем канале, ну ты подумай головкой, блядь, что у вас в России хуйня какая-то, потому что если твоя работа заключается в том, чтобы меня доебывать целыми днями, то, наверное, это, ну, очень, ну, прости меня, чувак, но это как-то низко. Ну, это реально, ну, это типа, ну, вот я даже не знаю, насколько нужно быть отсталым человеком, чтобы не понимать, в какой ситуации вы находитесь. Ваша работа — создавать профиль ним, чтобы меня просто, блин, чтобы за мной ходить туда-сюда. Ну, вы нормальный человек вообще? Ну, конечно, вы не нормальный человек, но, типа, если вы думаете, что я буду принимать какой-либо аргумент от вас, чувак, подумайте своей головкой, которая у вас вроде еще пока есть. Я не знаю, какой именно головка из двух вы думаете, я могу себе представить. Но той, которая ваша заключается в том, чтобы тупо сидеть в интернете и тупо создавать больше и больше профилей, чтобы меня доставать. Вы думаете, в России все нормально? И вы за это получаете сколько? 35 рублей за пост? Бляха, ну экономика у вас в стране просто. И вот знаете, образованность ваша, и факт того, что вы не можете найти лучшую работу, чем потому что их тупо нет, и вот это платит вам деньги, доставать девочку в интернете платит вам деньги, ну, бляха, вы сами себе ответили. Anyways, sorry. Какой там человек, русский. Okay, Ukraine repair of military equipment. Prime Minister Mateo. We will build such a hub where Polish companies will repair military equipment, make money on it, so that everyone in this cooperation is appropriate. Thank you, Max. Russia actually banned the UN from visiting places where Ukrainian prisoners of war are being held. Thank you so much. This is also worrisome because observers have evidence of ill treatment of the armed forces of Ukraine, said the head of the UN Mission for Human Rights in Ukraine, Matilda Bogner. She added that the cases of torture and humiliation of Ukrainian human rights activists documented by the UN can be equated with war crimes. So here is the interesting thing. Basically, the US is recommending to rework the Security Council system and the veto power system because Russia has put veto power since early 2000s and since 2003 on so many things that are now being reevaluated, like Georgia, like Moldova, you know, like all of the interventions that they have done worldwide, you know, and the US is quite literally trying to rework the UN Security Council system because Russia put a veto on the UN visiting places where Ukrainian prisoners of war are being held, and Russia shouldn't have a veto power while they're the aggressor country. Simple as that. Ukraine received the MIS-tracked unmanned armored personnel carriers from Estonia. They can be used to evacuate the wounded or deliver ammunition. Delphi published a photo of tests of such machines by Ukrainian military doctors at a training ground near Kyiv. MIS can carry weight up to 750 kilograms. The car is equipped with a hybrid diesel-electric engine and can reach speeds of up to 20 kilometers an hour. Such armored personnel carriers have a number of modifications, from purely transport to combat or reconnaissance. It all depends on which platform will be installed between the trucks. This is what it looks like. Я також, якщо чесно. The EU Council approved the allocation of macroeconomic assistance to Ukraine in the amount of 5 billion euros, according to the Czech Ministry of Finance. The European Commission recommended that EU countries not issue multiple entry long-term visas to Russian citizens, the EC said in a statement following the meeting of the EU Council. The European Commission recommended that the EU countries take a closer look at Russians and, in case of a security threat, refuse to issue visas or cancel existing ones. Yes, that's what I've been saying, cancel existing visas. The position of Hungary and other EU countries did not allow agreeing on maximum gas prices in the EU, reports the Associated Press. Energy ministers from 27 EU member states have been unable to resolve differences over cap prices for Russian natural gas, as Hungary, unwilling to change its position, said it was against its interests. In addition, other countries disagreed as to whether the price ceiling should apply only to the Russian Federation or to other suppliers as well. Crimes committed in Ukraine, Ruslan Stefanchuk said during a meeting with Israeli Knesset member Nir Barkat. The Speaker of the Ukrainian parliament told the interlocutor that he expects from the State of Israel an uncompromising, clear, and unambiguous condemnation of the war crimes committed by the Russian Federation in Ukraine. Stefanchuk also stressed the need to introduce tougher economic and financial sanctions against the Russian Federation, the Ukrainian embassy in Israel said in a statement. President Zelensky met with President of Latvia, Egils Levits, and Prime Minister of Poland, Morawiecki. Latvia, Poland, and the peoples of these countries are stable partners of our state. We'll never forget it. Mr. Nobody on YouTube, your handle quite literally says exactly what you are. You're a Russian nobody who makes 15 rubles for writing stupid garbage like this while the economy of your country is quite literally falling apart. You enjoy putting yourself on a pedestal and telling me that I'm a Ukrainian who used to pick up garbage on the streets of St. Petersburg. Well, you know, oh, how the tables have turned. And now Russian prisoners of war are rebuilding Ukraine and picking up our garbage. What? You're saying you wrote our history. Well, you rewrote our history. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for admitting that. Thank you for admitting to rewriting our history. Thanks. That's nice. I'll tell Putin that you did not do a good job as a troll because you quite literally just admitted to it. You think this pisses me off? Dude, you're miserable. Чувак, мне тебя жаль. У тебя мозгов не хватает, чтобы работать на нормальной работе. Поэтому ты вот зарабатываешь деньги вот этим. Мне тебя реально тупо жаль. Ну, честно. Ні, я думаю, що цим платять, тому що воно реально вже 50... Це вже 62... Реально. Це вже його 62-й аккаунт. Ну, в людини просто шарики за ролики. Це як в Росії кажуть, криша їдеть не спіша, тихо шушером шуршачі, якось так. Video panorama of Kharkiv after today's shelling. This is what it looks like. Та да, його все банять і банять, а він все доробляє. No, but Gorilla Joe, this is not what I was saying. It's like they were trying to say that it's, you know, derogatory because Ukrainians were picking up garbage in Russia on the streets of St. Petersburg as like a job, but that isn't a very well paid job in Russia. And I'm like, okay, well, Russian POWs are now picking up garbage in Ukraine for free. So, your point? Привіт, Софія. Це з цього напиши це з українського бренду. Дуже кльовий український бренд. І ще від них є кардиган і так далі. Я ще там в них дещо хочу замовити. Але якщо ти мені на інстаграмі напишеш чи десь, то я тобі кину ссылку, я просто не пам'ятаю, як він називається. У мене він є десь. Або ти на цей інстаграм зайди, в мене там є такий жовто-синій кардиган, дуже довгий. І ця косинка, і вони відмічені там. Okay, what distracts from the drudgery of war? The little tactical dogs that give warmth and tenderness to our defenders. So this is a Ukraine now video, and it's a battalion of tactical dogs. Чувак, я не можу дати тобі лайфхаки по вивченню мови, тому що я розмовляю англійською з 5 років, і я її вивчила від native speaker. У Львові, але від native speaker.
Ну, прогрівав. Все, борода шліфується. Тактичні собаки. Вони навіть, у них це окрас специфічний.
Привіт.
Тактичний. Що? Так, не надо мені руки пов'язати.
So, account number 6 created, and I really want to see this person has like, gosh, dude, like, I will pay for your therapy session with your Russian salary, but like, can I please? Can I pay that for you? Because this is like, да, качество на Ютубе такие 1080 сложно. Okay, so this was the last of what I had from this news source. Let me check the Kyiv Independent a little bit for some quick facts, because Kyiv Independent is really good. Назва каналу така сама, як тут. Я є на Ютубі, на Твічі, на Твіттері, всюди. Є TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Instagram більш такий, там мало чого відбувається, я просто там відписую. І Patreon в мене є також. But yeah. Okay, Kyiv School of Economics. Russian invasion of Ukraine has caused direct damages worth over 114 billion. U.S. sanctions Iranian companies over drone sales to Russia. Russian forces fire almost 100 rounds in Sumy Oblast on September 8th. Russian forces shelled Kharkiv. U.S. to intensify efforts to reform UN Security Council due to Russia's war against Ukraine. Linda Thomas Greenfield, the U.S. said the U.S. will push for reforms within the Security Council, including its veto rule. She noted that since 2009, Russia has cast 26 vetoes. Previously, President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized the UN Security Council and called for reforming the organization. Russian forces sustained losses as Ukraine's counteroffensive continues. Russia has completely destroyed 127 medical facilities since February 24th. Hi, Tammy. Russian forces kill 9, injured 23 in Donetsk Oblast on September 8th. Institute for the Study of War. Ukraine will likely capture. So this one, Institute for the Study of War said that Ukraine is going to recapture Kupiansk in 72 hours, and then Kupiansk was recaptured 5 hours later. New Western air defense systems will enable Ukraine to shoot down more advanced Russian missiles. A Romanian Navy ship hits mine in Black Sea. No casualties are reported. The Romanian Navy dredger was attempting to defuse the drifting sea mine when it exploded 25 nautical miles off the coast of Kazanta. No casualties or significant damage to the ship was reported, according to the Romanian Defense Ministry, though. Intensive shelling in Kharkiv Oblast kills 4 civilians. Russian forces continue shelling Mykolaiv Air Moldova resumes flights to Russia so Moldovans can come back from Russia back to Moldova. European Council adopts full suspension of visa facilitation agreement with Russia. Ukraine registers record number of marriages in 7 years. Ukrainian forces reportedly reached Kupiansk, Kharkiv Oblast, reportedly. Yes, they did. UK intelligence says that Belarus' ongoing military drills highly unlikely to lead to Minsk's direct involvement in Russia's war, which is something that I was saying they can't afford to do so. They don't have enough of a military, and also that will be the end of Lukash. Ukraine's military raises Ukrainian flag in Shevchenkova, Kharkiv Oblast, another village. Zelensky today said that 30 villages now have been liberated in the last 3 days. Italian journalist was injured near the front line in Kherson Oblast, according to the Guardian. The driver with whom he was traveling was reportedly killed. Update: Russian airstrike on hospital in Sumy Oblast injures 7 people. Russian forces shell Kharkiv, destroy kindergarten. According to the UN, Russian troops mistreat Ukrainian POWs. Matilda Bogner, the head of the UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, said the mission documented the mistreatment of Ukrainian prisoners of war by Russian forces at the Olenivka penal colony. Bogner reported instances of torture, infectious diseases, and a lack of adequate food, water, healthcare, and sanitation. Russia has reportedly not provided the mission with access to Ukrainian prisoners of war in Russian and Russian-occupied territory. Latvian president makes an unannounced visit to Ukraine. Pentagon finds Ukraine's success in Kherson and Kharkiv Oblast encouraging. We see success in Kherson now, we see success in Kharkiv, and so that is very, very encouraging, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on September 9th. In an address on September 8th, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukrainian forces have liberated dozens of communities from Russian occupation as part of the ongoing Ukrainian counteroffensive in both southern Kherson Oblast and northern Kharkiv Oblast. Estonian unmanned armored personnel carrier arrives in Ukraine. According to the General Staff, Ukrainian forces repel Russian attacks near tent settlements. Wall Street Journal, Russian oligarch Friedman offers $1 billion to Ukraine in exchange for sanctions relief. Russian oligarch Mikhail Friedman offered to transfer $1 billion of his personal wealth to the Ukrainian bank he co-founded, Alfa Bank, in an attempt to convince the UK to lift sanctions against him, reports the Wall Street Journal. Friedman was sanctioned in March following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Yeah, good luck, dude. Why don't you just transfer $1 billion because you feel bad and not ask to lift the sanctions? Just maybe if people thought that you had no back thoughts behind it and this was done out of your goodwill, then maybe they would have lifted the sanctions to begin with, you know? EU ministers approved providing $5 billion loan to Ukraine. Crimean Tatars dream of their homeland's liberation as Ukraine strikes back in the south. On the day of the attack on the Sake air base in Crimea, Crimean Tatar historian Gulnara Abdullaeva called loved ones in a nearby village. It was pure joy, she said. They told me they were drinking celebration. For now, they still can't be any more open than that. Ukrainian troops liberated more than 30 settlements in Kharkiv Oblast officially. Kharkiv shelling survivor says Russia took everything from me. Kharkiv resident Valentina Hromonenko was doing laundry in her yard on the afternoon of September 9th when she heard a loud explosion followed by the scream of her 11-year-old grandson, Maxim. My grandson was inside vacuuming. He shouted, "Grandma, something is falling on me." Hromonenko told the Kyiv Independent. He got very scared, he cried and couldn't say a word. Hromonenko's family witnessed one of Russia's recent strikes on Kharkiv. In the afternoon of September 9th, Russian troops fired Uragan multiple rocket launchers at Kharkiv, injuring 14 people, including 3 children. Hi, Aaron. Latvian president calls for starting Ukraine's EU accession talks. At least Levitz said at a press conference with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki in Kyiv that Latvia is doing its best to speak with the European Union. Hi, Priya. Levitz said that Ukraine not only belongs politically and culturally to the European family, but should also become a member of the EU, as the bloc is a union of free democratic countries. The EU granted Ukraine candidate status on June 23rd, but the accession talks have not begun yet. Governor, Russian troops shell Sumy Oblast almost 100 times on September 9th. European Commission recommends annulment of Russian citizens' existing visas in some cases. One sec. On September 9th, the European Commission published guidelines advising EU member states not to issue long-term visas to Russians and annul Russian existing visas if necessary. Zelensky awarded the CEO of Turkey's Baykar with Order of Merit. German opposition leader calls for sending 100 Marder armored vehicles to Ukraine. Freedom is priceless. An attack on Ukraine is an attack on the post-war European place order, said Friedrich Merz, leader of the Christian Democratic Union. IAEA, shelling destroys off-site power supply to Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Shelling near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has destroyed a vital off-site electric power plant, according to International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi. This plant has provided power to the nuclear facility each time its usual supply lines were cut during the last 3 weeks. It was also supplying electricity to the surrounding area, which is now left without power. And this is all news that I have for today. Yeah, this is all news that I have for today. Thank you guys for listening. Let's hang out a little bit. And Привіт, Василь. Let's hang out a little bit. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I will answer them unless you're the trolls on Twitch and YouTube who have now one sec. So that dude who created like 60 something accounts says, I'm upset. I just wanted to have fun. I will leave you alone. Please take my take my apologies. If someone is going to find out who I am, the German government is going to annul my basically German green card. I am only 13 years old. Well, dude, all I have to say to you is maybe before you harass someone and create 60-something accounts, you should probably think about what German government and whether they can annul your German variant of a green card. If I find out who you are, I'm not going to think about the fact that you're 13 years old because you seem to be conscious enough to know that what you are doing is incredibly damaging and is considered harassment. Now, let me tell you that you are going to leave me alone because one of my moderators is capable of finding literally anything about you if I wanted to. I just don't. But if I see you here one more time, you better bet that I'm going to find out if you live in Germany, where you live, and how to find you. Because this is not fun. This is harassment. Harassment is punishable by law. Really proved that you've created upwards of 60 accounts to harass me. And I don't care that you are 13. If you're 13, you should not be on this app. And if you're 13 and you're trying to use that as like a mechanism of having me pity you, you fully understand what you're doing. And you fully understand the consequences of that. So it shouldn't matter whether you're 13, 14, 18, 22, or 45. So get out of my profile. And if I see you here one more time, I bet you whatever country you are in, I am going to let them know. much. Hi, Dan. Anyways, so that's I'll check on those, Jen. I will check on those because I sent them out a while ago, but as we know, me and mail, but I also send them. Okay, so hi, truthful. So I send them with that mail that because it's already so expensive to ship things with USPS because they've increased their prices 3 times since January 1st. Basically, it costs me $8 to $9 to ship out the coasters, and that's the cheapest option they have with tracking. And it says that it's up to 2 or 3 weeks shipping, and normally it comes in 3 days because it's within America, right, within the United States. But sometimes I get lucky and it takes like a week or 2 or 2.5. But I do have tracking for all of them, so don't worry, they're not going to be lost because I can't track them. Oh, hi Yum, good to see you. No, he's not raising my blood pressure. He's now saying I'm just a kid, leave me alone, and I'm literally going to ignore him because I quite literally do not need this anymore. And honey, oh, I left you alone. You're not leaving me alone. You quite literally keep continuing to create profiles. Oh, of course he's still doing it. He wants to see. He's still doing it for 2 reasons. Because he wants to seem like I'm attacking a child, which I'm quite literally not doing. Because first of all, the person behind this profile is not 13. I also said that if they are 13, they should not be on this app. They want to most likely report me for being mean to a child, right? I mean mean to a child because I said to them that if they're 13 years old and they've created 64 accounts, that is still harassment, and now 7. 2, they also want to see if I can find out who they actually are, and they want to see if I can find out they want to see if I can find out where they actually are located and how old they actually are. Challenge accepted, honey. I will find you then. If you want me to know if you want me to see, then sure. It's really easy to do through your IP address. So good luck with that. VPN is not going to help you. So it's now back on Twitch, and I will take a screenshot of that because that will. Oh, what am I doing? Why is
You're going to be hopefully learning some new things that you can apply to your
I don't understand why.
The way you're going to actually debut on stage, live, in front of lots of people.
What is happening here?
At TwitchCon San Diego. I wonder if anyone
Oh
in
my
chat,
god! I hate when Twitch starts playing whatever it starts playing by itself. Oh no, you don't understand. We've blocked him. We've blocked him 67 times to date, and it keeps coming back. That's the whole thing. It's not like it's not like some random trolley lolly. We've blocked him 67 times. I've counted. 67 times we've blocked him. 67 times. That is quite literally clinical at this point. There is nothing I can say or do. In person is crazy. Oh, thank you, Rainbow. Good to see you. Yeah, Lisa. This is what I call unhealthy obsession. This is what I call unhealthy obsession. Yes, stalker of a very different level, but that's the thing, I think that they think that I can't find them, and I think that they think that they're so smart and stuff. Well, dude, you wait. Just you wait. At this point, first of all, I don't care enough for you to look for you, but I also sort of, if you annoy me enough, then trust me. Trust me. You're just not worth my attention, but you're becoming a little too annoying to deal with. Oh yeah, he keeps like, also 13-year-olds don't say hi. Hi, loyalty. Hi, loyalty. Hi, Bo. So good to see you. But the thing is, like, the dude is, he's an adult man, because also the way that he writes and the way that he speaks, he's not a 13-year-old. He is an adult male. So, Antique Steve. Hi, Steve. Oh no, it keeps coming back. Oh, dude, I'm not even like, this thing now has a listen. This is the last time that I'm even gonna respond to you. I'm not threatening you. I'm not threatening you. You are the one harassing me. I'm just telling you that provided that you keep harassing me, I would like to be able to report you for harassment, because you have been blocked from my channel 68 times now. So all I'm telling you is that I am going to report you for harassment, because that is my God-given right at this point, after you have appeared on my channel. Oh, 70 accounts right now, 70 times, after you have been blocked 70 times. So that is harassment, and I will report you for harassment. And I also have, all of the evidence. So that's it. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you're 13, 14, 15, 12, whatever age you are harassing me, and I can report that to the proper authorities. That's all. Now have a good life. Other than that, I'm leaving you alone. I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you what my course of action is going to be. And if you actually live in the European Union, and that will threaten your ability to live in the European Union, well, then you should have thought about it before you made 70 accounts to harass me. Oh, he's not even hiding that it's the same person. He just creates a new account and literally says the same, and continues saying before. And before that, he had a profile picture that was the same. And yeah, and then there is also 30 witnesses to that happening. Good luck. Anyways, I don't want to pay any more attention to this. So let's talk about if you have any more questions about, anything that's actually relevant other than that. Can't give up. Aaron, good to see you. Okay, nice to meet you. Aaron is a nice name. This dude has way too much time on his hands, I know. But yeah, also, I just ordered myself a quesadilla. I want to visit Lviv, very much so, but I'm waiting for my passport. Yes, I went to get my passport, and I'm waiting for it to be done, and then I want to go to Lviv and visit Ukraine. Yeah. Thank you, Max. Yeah, Ukraine is a beautiful country. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Max. Are you Ukrainian? Yes, born and raised by those who praised. Yeah, I hope so too. Also, hi, Mezer or Metzer. Hi there. Oh yeah, of course, there's so many screenshots. Hi, Antique Steve. Oh yeah, wait, you were there. Thank you, Antique Steve. Like a few minutes ago. Stream. Good to see you. Alrighty, guys. I think it's time for me to go walk Cindy. I want to do a long walkie with her. And I also need to record some videos. I also need to work on merch tonight. But thank you, Todd. Hi. Good to see you. But Metzer. Hi, cool that you're bringing the info, ideas, news over to everyone. Hope you have a good weekend. Peace. Yeah, hope you have a good weekend too. 11 is the age of criminal responsibility in the EU. Perfect. Nice to see you too, Todd. Okay, so I'm going to go for now, but I'm going to come back at around 10 or something like that. We will do sort of like, I think that maybe we should history. We should do a history, briefing or something like that, and we should talk about just like general things that you guys might have forgotten about on my channel, or like the things that you still haven't received answers to that are pertaining to Ukrainian history and stuff like that. So let's do that later in the evening, and I will see you later. Okay, bye-bye, guys. В мене сьогодні дуже хреновий інтернет в загальному. Це типу через те, що в мене просто інтернет фіговий. Зазвичай не підлагує. Окей. Bye, guys. It was good to see you. Let me turn off Twitch.